and they said there was nothing they could do about it. And we ran a huge campaign, very successful, and the public wrote in droves, in huge numbers, to their MPs, and the Prime Minister himself, John Major, intervened, and we got a stay of execution. And out of that came the European Directive on traditional herbal medicinal products, which isn't very helpful if you're a practitioner, but it's better than nothing. So now we are facing, as Hui Jun was saying, the problem that the government has actually, I'm going to use a very strong word, betrayed its promises. It did make a promise in 2011, and clearly something has gone on at the higher echelons of government, and we haven't been consulted, and we need to argue that they made a huge mistake. Now, this isn't about practitioners, and it isn't about just Chinese medicines, it's about actually citizens of Europe. 1 in 2 citizens of Europe currently use complementary medicine. And in the UK, there have been two, quite extraordinarily, 2 public consultations. They cost one huge sum of money to do by the Department of Health, asking the public, the UK public, if they want regulation of their TCM practitioners and other practitioners who are using particularly herbal medicines. And you know what? In the first case, there was a 95% response in favour. In the second case, where there were over 24 complicated questions with subsections that you needed a degree in legislation to be able to understand, the UK Department of Health received 6,000 responses. They normally only get 40, and they had to employ an outside agency to work out the statistics. It took them 1.5 years to do that. And guess what? Around 80% of the respondents had actually asked, could we have our practitioners regulated? So that's one really good reason why the government should be listening. A second reason is that as we stand at the moment, legally, in the human medicines regulation, believe it or not, as a practitioner, I am person A. That's all I'm described as. Not as a herbalist, not as a TCM practitioner or an acupuncturist. I'm just person A. And the person to who's consulted me and I'm giving treatment to is person B. And that's going to get us into trouble. Did I say it's going to get us into trouble? It's got us into trouble. Just now, you may be aware, because you've heard it on the radio, that the government has decided to pass a legal highs bill. I think its actual term is the Psychoactive Substances Bill. What's this got to do with us? Absolutely nothing. It's to stop young people going to raves and taking illegal substances to make them high, and people have been dying from doing that. But because we don't exist legislatively, we're just person A and our patients are person B, guess what? In reading the bill, which is already in the House of Lords, we find that if it goes through in its current form, everything we do herbally will immediately become a legal high. The only things that are exempted are those few medicines that have actually got a traditional herbal medicinal products directive license, a registration. So we do need statutory regulation, and we need the government to actually honour its promise. I was on the working group that met for 2 years with Hui Jun and several other people, and we were promised by the government that there would be a chance for us to see the report before it was published, and that the report would reflect our recommendations, not those of just the chair. When the chairman, who was mentioned earlier, Professor David Walker, discovered that actually most of the people around the table, there were some 30 people on the committee, favoured statutory regulation, he took away the report from the committee and published it under his own name. We now have a period of time when the government is going to decide whether it agrees with or disagrees with his report. So it's absolutely vital, in my view, that we all fight together to move towards statutory regulation, without which we just don't legally exist. Now, I'm going to say one last thing, and it seems to me that this isn't just about publicity for what we do. The public know what they do, what we do. Like many of you, I practice and I'm very busy, and I think all the people I know who are working, doing what we do, are very busy. So the public are coming to us in huge numbers. What's the problem is actually at the moment there's an argument going on about evidence-based medicine. And that's really the critical argument. And we need to enter that argument, and we need to engage in it, and we need to make our case, and we need to produce good quality research, but not the kind of research that drug companies do, which is double-blind clinical control trials. We need medical outcome studies that show, for example, what Charles was saying, that our patients do much better when they combine Chinese herbal medicine with conventional medicine, which is often the case. We can't give up now. We must stick together. Don't wobble. Keep going. Thank you.
Yes, I'd like to thank the organizers very much for inviting me. I feel very honored to speak here. And I'd like to focus on a point which is a bit beyond regulation. But first I begin to cite in the literature Nobel Prize winner Günter Grass. He said political progress is running like a snail. So because we have to develop patience and continuity. In our field, we have a lot of activities going on, standardization, legislation, regulation, and would appreciate to process on TCM level much quicker than the snail. To not being forced into regulation by the state or European institutions, it's necessary to establish a broad acceptance, a common step within the many societies of Chinese medicine and acupuncture. I would guess that in Europe we have... That's better? Hello? Is it, can you hear me?
Yeah.
It's loud enough? Okay, now it's better. Okay, thank you. I would guess that we have in Europe about 150 non-medical associations dealing with acupuncture or TCM, maybe even more medical ones. This is an incredible diversity and a big challenge to bring them together. We have some leading associations in Europe, like BEXI in England and ATCM, the ATGCM in Germany, and the two European umbrella organizations, PFOTS and TCMA. Do we have an advantage of our leadership on health political level? Only if we get the smaller, not so far advanced societies on board, even in the smaller countries. We need to unify to speak with one mouth. This is joining forces, and this makes our work for TCM stronger with more influence on the health political institutions. As a representative of ETCMA and TCM Congress Rotenburg, with a long-standing experience in community building, I plead that we don't only look on the top aims, that we also care about unifying the European field to manage the development of quality on all levels of TCM. And this is one of these snail processes. Maybe we develop a 40-year plan to increase our patience. But firstly, we need to understand that complexity is a part of European TCM, and secondly, that we have to find a way to unite and to support the lower levels and understand that we only win when we all win. PFOTS and ETCMA, the both Chinese medical medicine umbrella organizations, are beginning to work together, join forces in a specific area. As first step, we did the CHECH project, a cooperation with China and the EU, with a €700,000 budget. ETCMA entered that project to support PFOTS and the WFCMS. PFOTS has a powerful cooperation with and influence on SATCM WFCMS, the World Federation of Chinese Medical Societies. And ETCMA has more European know-how activities in Eurochem, with a finger at the pulse of the EU health processes. Though a cooperation with WHO influence, we have influence on the ICD 11TM chapter process, and we have developed an advocacy education for country TCM societies to more being able to actively influence the local health political processes. ETCMA is in exchange with major institutions in the US, Canada, Australia to mutually learn from experiences and develop intercontinental, as first steps, PR activities and CPD. TCM world is small and complex. We need to get much more society as members of the European umbrellas to ask them to join and integrate. And on top, the societies need to spend much more money for European and single countries' health political activities. No money, no work, no future. We need to build European networks on Chinese medical science research, schools and trainings, congresses and journals. We need to have much more active and competent colleagues to manage all these important activities, and they need to be paid. We need to interact with the large world umbrella organizations like WFCMS and WFAS to join and influence the worldwide processes like ISO. We need to cooperate with WHO, TM and CAM section and to follow or control the ICD 11 TM chapter processes as we have influence on details of these processes. This all should be running parallel to regulation processes. I just wanted to show a main field of growth of European TCM. The community of all TCM acupuncture societies can be the earth, the soil where political activities can grow better and be supported also through manpower. Thank you.
So I'm Sun Pei-Ling, coming from Belgium. Probably I'm the only person who will give you disappointment, saying no. Why? I have heard two words from my colleagues. One word is legislation. The second word is umbrella. The umbrella is used to protect the practitioner of TCM. But TCM is quite a big term. It means traditional Chinese medicine, but forget it. Especially forget it in European countries. I've been giving lessons in most European countries, but I found that the TCM market is not serious. Do you find it's serious now? Also in England, those three gentlemen are coming from England. I have heard from different stories about actual TCM market, that who are the members of TCM associations. Sometimes nonsense, that's not serious. So if I were the Minister for Public Health, I would say no, forget about this. It's a long way. Please first prove yourself. So Belgium is one of the first country, and it is the first serious country who want legalized acupuncture. I think this is the good way. First, legalize acupuncture, but not TCM, because this is quite content. And secondly, that who can be the member of acupuncture society? That it's in our hand. That people who want to be a good acupuncturist must pass through serious fundamental studies, not running course for 2 or 3 months, going to China, following the 2 months acupuncture course, then come back. I'm an acupuncturist. I've been trained in China, top university. It's nonsense. It's not serious. Because the object we are going to treat is not an animal. It's a human being. And even it's animal, we have to be very serious. We need to have 5 or 6 years university studies. But it's a human being. It's far more complicated than animals. But 2 or 3 months acupuncture training is sufficient. 2 or 3 years is sufficient. Even I, at this moment, I will say that I'm not able to cover all kinds of disease. Even I'm running a good practice. So be serious, be honest, that education is the first priority. That this education should last at least 3 to 5 years, full-time studies. Without this basis, forget about this. So if you want to legalize acupuncture, I will see that you will meet a lot of resistance. So don't forget the situation in Belgium. Belgium is a political center in Europe. It was a very difficult period in 1990s because what is so-called kidney failure caused by Chinese health medicine happened in Belgium. It's a big shock to TCM world. At that moment, a practice which used Magnolia and Stephania, these 2 herbs, one is Hou Po, another is Fang Qi. But actually it was a mistake. They replaced Han Fang Qi by Mu Fang Qi. So, but Mu Fang Qi is actually is toxic in certain way. But now, until this moment, the scientific research has not yet proved it is really due to these 2 herbs which cause kidney failure. But anyway, the accident happened for TCM. But even at that moment, acupuncture legalization was going on due to political lobby. And in 1999, the Minister of Public Health from Belgium has passed a draft law. Here is a draft law, and which passed parliament voting. So actually, Belgium is in the country, in the state that it is not illegal, but it is also not legal. So this new minister, which voted last year, want to legalize this acupuncture, but not TCM, pay attention, only acupuncture. And she says that please give me the evidence that for me to make a decision to pass this law finally. But what evidence she needs is evidence-based. And then I found it's another story. Because acupuncture cannot always match the so-called scientific research, evidence-based proof. So there's another way to go. So there's a communication between the government, political lobby, and our environment. I mean that's practice. From our side, what we can do probably include 2 points. First is that we, as a practitioner, must be very serious. The education institute must be very serious. Our registration must be very serious. Don't protect them as umbrella. I give them chance to treat people in such a low quality to people, and which is damage the TCM reputation. Second, we do need some political lobby. We do need some political support. For example, Belgium is a small country, and we can have different influence on political levels. For example, I know personally the chairman of a parliament committee from Belgium, and he has a lot of power, a lot of things to say, and also we have a connection with the minister itself. So I think this is important, like those gentlemen who have connections with different supporters, professors. Very important. Sometimes it's even more important than our own practice. But from our side, as ordinary people, as ordinary associations, please start now. Be serious, be honest for education and for registration. because this is my experience in the last 26 years in Belgium. I hope that I don't disappoint you. I give some opposite voice about legalization. I say no.
Thank you very much for all the wonderful speakers.